Hello, my sweet little one. Are you ready for a magical story tonight? I'm going to tell you about a kind shoemaker and some very special little helpers. This is a wonderful tale about kindness, hard work, and the magic that happens when we help each other. So snuggle up close and let's discover this enchanting story together. Once upon a time, sweetie, there lived a kind old shoemaker named Hans. He worked very hard in his little shop, making beautiful shoes with his gentle hands. But oh my, times were tough. Hans and his dear wife Greta had so little money left. Can you imagine? They only had enough leather to make one last pair of shoes. That evening, Hans carefully cut his last piece of leather. He wanted to make the most beautiful shoes ever. But, honey, he was so tired from working all day. "I'll finish these tomorrow morning," he told Greta with a gentle smile. Then they said their prayers and went to bed, hoping for the best. But guess what happened next, my dear? When Hans came down to his workshop the next morning, he couldn't believe his eyes. There on his workbench sat the most beautiful pair of shoes he had ever seen. They were perfectly made with tiny, perfect stitches. "Greta," he called, "come quickly. You won't believe this." Now, sweetie, those shoes were so beautiful that a rich gentleman bought them right away. He paid Hans much more money than usual because the shoes were absolutely perfect. Hans and Greta were so happy. With the money, Hans bought enough leather to make 2 pairs of shoes. "Maybe our luck is changing," he said hopefully. That night, Hans cut leather for 2 pairs of shoes and left them on his workbench. And you know what? The same magical thing happened again. In the morning, there were 2 pairs of perfect shoes waiting for him. This kept happening night after night. Hans and Greta were getting happier and happier. After many weeks of this magic, Hans and Greta had a wonderful shop full of customers again. But they were very curious about their mysterious helpers. Who could be making these beautiful shoes? Greta wondered. "Let's stay up tonight and find out," Hans suggested. So they decided to hide and watch. What do you think they'll discover? That night, Hans and Greta hid behind a big chair and waited quietly. Just as the clock struck midnight, ding, dong, 2 tiny elves appeared. Oh my goodness! They had pointy ears, green clothes, and little red caps. The elves began working with their tiny hammers, tap, 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 making the most perfect shoes you ever saw. Hans and Greta watched the helpful elves all night long. When morning came and the elves disappeared, the couple felt so grateful. "Those dear little elves have been helping us all this time," Greta whispered. "But did you see? They looked so cold in those tiny clothes." Hans nodded. "We must do something kind for them." All day long, Hans and Greta worked on a special surprise. Greta sewed 2 tiny warm coats with her smallest needle, and Hans made 2 pairs of tiny boots. That night, they left these gifts on the workbench with a note that said, "Thank you, dear friends." When the elves found them, they danced with joy and put on their new clothes right away. From that night on, my sweet child, the elves never returned to make shoes. But you know what? They had helped Hans and Greta so much that the shoemaker's shop stayed successful forever. And whenever Hans made shoes, he remembered the kindness of his tiny friends. The most wonderful things happen when we help each other with love. Now, what do you think about that beautiful story? And that, my sweet child, is the end of our story. What a wonderful adventure we've had together. Remember, when we are kind and grateful, good things come back to us. This story teaches us something very important about kindness and gratitude. Did you enjoy our story time? I hope it filled your heart with joy and wonder. Sweet dreams, little one, and remember, you are loved more than all the stars in the sky.